Why are people steering away from religion? Religion relies heavily on indoctrination. This indoctrination cycle is largely being broken and has been for the last 30 years. Why? The internet. Two things came about. Information was now easy to find and absorb. Social media and communication meant churches were no longer the only way to meet people. One of the biggest functions church offered was socializing on a scale that was extremely difficult to match elsewhere. It's kind of hard to see value in churches anymore. Deconstructing is a hell of a thing. I feel like a lot of us were scared of what had been told to us. I mean, for the most part it's our parents' guardians that teach us about it. Why wouldn't you believe them? It's in our nature to trust, especially at a young age. Once that's over, we think about it all and begin to realize. I think this really depends on where you live. In Western society it feels as though it has grown away from religious practices, but if you visit more rural or religious places you'll feel and see how religion is still alive and people are still practicing. In my particular case it was twofold. First, I actually read the Bible. Actually doing that creates a lot of atheists. Secondly, I spent a lot of time around family members who were Southern Baptists and saw firsthand how hateful and bigoted they were and how they definitely did not practice what was being preached. My entire life the Catholic Church has been apologizing for absolutely horrible actions they both enabled and attempted to cover up. Many Protestant religions are crazy and supporting a thrice-married adulterer who lies and cheats, and nothing is as creepy as a youth minister. Pretty much a no-brainer. I prefer to associate with decent people. Because we have more information available and asking critical questions is less frowned upon. With those two combined you can easily come to the conclusion that all religion is made up. A super entity might exist, I can't prove it doesn't. But all the rituals and stuff around it is made up by people and it doesn't give a shit about us. Else there wouldn't be babies born to this world who die days after birth in excruciating pain. There is no reason why a God that has a plan for everyone and has the best intentions in mind would ever do such a thing. This is just one simple example how there is no benevolent God if you just look at the world. In the 21st century it is easy to look into the origins of religion. And then you realize that Christianity is an offshoot of Judaism, which is an offshoot of an earlier religion, which is an offshoot of an earlier religion. Once you learn where religions actually came from, believing in them becomes much harder. They grow up and start thinking critically. Because it's the 21st century and we know Sky Daddy isn't real, almost every story in the Bible is made up. We know who wrote the Bible and the reasons behind doing so. All religions are cults. They were created as a means to control and influence the populace, and to explain things they didn't have the scientific knowledge to understand. As a species we should be beyond needed make-believe fairy tales to explain what science can. Edit, downvote all you want, truth hurts don't it? Because religion keeps lying to people. Very little of religion can survive critical thinking. Indoctrinate, abuse, grift, scam, lie, fear, money, power, control, intimidate, devalue, deconstruct, destroy. Bullshit, just a few words that I can think of that cause people to steer clear of religion. If you didn't hear about religion until you were adult and someone gave you a Bible to read, would you take it seriously? Religion depends on childhood indoctrination to continue. Without it, it would die in 2 generations. I turned away from Christianity because of how extreme their political views were. I was devout Pentecostal until my views changed. The absolute turning point for me is when I started seeing Christians attacking and demeaning George Floyd after he was murdered. After that, I told myself I didn't want to be associated with people like that, people that claim to be all loving, but really hate everyone except themselves. Turns out an invisible, all-powerful entity in the sky that will solve all your fears and worries if you follow their arbitrary rules isn't all that logical if you think about it. Because it's based on hate. Serious atrocities are committed daily in the name of religion. Why do people no longer believe in Thor? Clearly we can all hear his thunder. Last church experience I had, the pastor made it very clear he did not believe in psychology or any mental illness-related problems. For it being one of more serious and reliable churches on teaching the Bible, that's pretty crushing. Catholic priests raping boys and the Catholic Church working overtime to cover it up for generations is a bit of a turnoff. So there's that. Same reason we stopped believing in Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy.